If you've never kept a gradebook, you might be overwhelmed at the thought of all those lines and numbers and colors. For a busy teacher, however, there is no better asset than a well-kept gradebook. A gradebook can be a personal defender, a reliable memory, and even a private investigator. Here at the Academy, we require that all teachers maintain a gradebook, and we prefer that these books follow a standard format. In this short video, I will show you how to do this, and I will offer you some basic guidelines for using a gradebook effectively. When you are setting up your new book, it helps to put your students in alphabetical order by last name. Over the course of the school year, this will save you a lot of time, and it will also help you to remember both the first and the last names of each of your students. You may wonder, how many grades do I need to have per week in each subject? We recommend at least 2 grades per week in each subject, but our minimum is 1. At the end of a 9-week period then, you will have at least 9 grades to support your average for that period. The more recorded grades your book contains, the more credible you will appear during parent-teacher conferences or when asked a specific question by your principal. I can tell you many stories about being saved by my gradebook. Once, I was called down to my principal's office because an angry parent was there. She was very upset about her son's low grade in my course. My principal said simply, "Can you support the grade you gave the student?" At that moment, I pulled out my gradebook and demonstrated that I had over 60 records for that student for that 9-week period. Many of those were quizzes, some were participation grades, some were projects, and some were tests, but I had many, many records. At that point, the discussion was over, and I was dismissed and sent back to my classroom. No further questions. On this sample page for an elementary math class, you will notice that the teacher recorded at least 3 grades per week, even though she only had 4 tests during the marking period. Some of these grades were from in-class exercises or worksheets, some from participation, and some from quizzes. In other words, I am not recommending that you over-test the student. I am simply suggesting that the more recorded grades you have, the more powerful your position as teacher. I have 2 suggestions for how you should run your gradebook. The first is consistency. Make sure you have a consistent system of both grading and recording. Your numbers should follow neat rows, and make sure that your method for noting information is the same throughout each 9 weeks. Second, make sure that the information in your book is accurate. Be sure to record grades immediately if possible. If a grade changes, make a note of that. If a student makes up a missing assignment, be sure to enter that information. If you mark a student as absent, but he comes to school later in the day, change the A to a T in your book. Since all of our elementary teachers use the same color code system for managing student behavior, a gradebook is a great way to remember those kinds of events. For instance, you might remember that a student had been placed on red several times, but it is far more specific when you look at your book and see dates and precise numbers. Of course, you should also record positive information, such as times that a student made it to the coveted blue level. As we get close to the end of a grading period, you will easily be able to make note of trends in your book. In this example, we see that Hala Mardini had a problem turning in her homework. She missed it 9 times during the marking period. Also, Tanya Habib always performed poorly on classwork when she was tardy. You might be tempted to look at a gradebook as one more thing that you have to do. Over time, however, I think you will see that a gradebook is a great way to not only manage academic outcomes, but to encourage each of your students to be the best that they can be. Thank you so much for being committed to academic excellence here at the Academy, and have a blessed year.